While the Vatican is widely available to visitors and serves as a mostly public totem of the Catholic religion, there are also many interesting and surprising mysteries to uncover about this specific institution. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 mysteries about the Pope and the Vatican. Pope John Paul II personally performed 3 exorcisms during his reign. While the Vatican typically refuses to call an event an actual exorcism, they do, however, acknowledge the events which they are describing. The Pope might seem symbolic, as we usually only see ceremonious duties, but the Catholic head does perform papal exorcisms and other duties. Italian journalist Fabio Marchese Ragona has always maintained that he believes that demons are real and prowl about the earth looking for souls. He is a primary source for the history of Vatican exorcisms, John Paul II being no exception. Ragona stated that he has spoken to several exorcists who said the devil was terrified of John Paul II. He is said to have performed at least 3 exorcisms in his day, in 1982, 1984 and 2000. Before John Paul II, exorcism was considered a medieval practice, going away with the development of medicine and technology, but in 1998 the Pope actually approved an updated form of the rite of exorcism, nearly 400 years after the first rite was established and released. He himself had already performed 2 exorcisms at this point, and believed it was necessary to have this practice reinstated and, when necessary, used. On March 27, 1982, Francesca was with her family when they arrived in St. Peter's Square. Doctors were unable to solve the enigma, as the woman was under the care of a priest who was an exorcist, and of her parish priest at the time. Because her case was so unexplainable and unsolvable, Bishop Alberti of Spoleto brought the young woman before the Pope. This woman was completely emotionless. The Pope brought forth the rite of exorcism and began to read it in Latin. As the scripture was read aloud, she began to tremble and ultimately rolled around on the floor, shouting and shrieking. He was praying, and eventually the possession was pulled from her body and left her alone, finally. The woman, Francesca, is leading a normal life, married with 4 children. Gabriele Amorth was the exorcist for the Diocese of Rome. Francesca visited him afterwards and with his own eyes saw that the woman was completely fine and normal. Pope's exorcist says the devil is in the Vatican. Our next topic also involves Gabriele Amorth. As the head exorcist for the Vatican, this man has seen some things. His study holds photos of the Virgin Mary, copies of the Bible, and a bed with restraining ropes for his practice. Amorth stated that the devil is not everywhere, but when he is present, it is painful. The devil is pure spirit, invincible. He is shown with the painful blasphemies coming from the person which he possesses. He can stay hidden. He can speak different languages. He can transform himself. Amorth has seen many exorcisms and many cases that led him to believe the devil is alive and well, and that he is in the Vatican. He claims that the devil tries to attack within Vatican City, and he has tried with the 1981 attack of Ali Aqsa. Additionally, the Christmas attack with the crazy woman who tried to harm Benedict XVI. The smoke of Satan looms over the Vatican, especially with the recent events with the church scandal of some horrific claims. When Amorth was interviewed, he was asked, "You've said publicly that you believe, referring to the current church scandals, that Satan is in the Vatican. Do you still believe this?" He replied with a simple yes, and went on to say that he believes that Satan rules the world and that Satan is in the Vatican. The Vatican Bank Scandals. Next, we will look at the scandals with the connections to the mafia that the Vatican has been connected to. Many years ago, the Vatican financed its operation with donations and indulgences. Early on, the Vatican made little effort to keep track of finances, which meant the institution was rampant with extravagant and unnecessary spending and embezzlement. After being on the edge of financial ruin more than once, the Vatican decided it was time to appoint Bernardino Nogara as its financial advisor in 1929, who straightened out the church's finances and grew a $92 million investment from Mussolini into almost $1 billion. World War II also played a huge role in the creation of the Vatican Bank, as well as the unique power it held. As the Allies imposed restrictions on bank accounts, it became harder to move money around. Nogara created the bank, called the Institute for Religious Works, in 1942 to avoid having financial transactions tracked through Western banks. Because it resided in Vatican City, it was exempt from all wartime restrictions and became the world's best offshore bank. The mission to hoard money through the church turned into something shadier than they could ever have imagined. A German officer admitted to having many wartime spies in the Vatican. One of these spies was rumoured to be the financial advisor Nogara, and during the war, he began investing in Italian insurance companies. These companies made money by keeping financial assets from life insurance policies of deceased Jewish policyholders and refused to pay out for those still living. The Vatican was never a direct insurer, so it was not required to pay restitution after the war. During the war, many financial records were lost and destroyed, and the Vatican itself refused access to its record. The full scope of this scheme remains widely unclear. At the time, the Pope refused to publicly denounce anything that Germany was operating, even though the Vatican was well informed of what was going on before allies even knew. This led to a systemic best management of funds into a long-term link to the mafia. In 1973, the US Justice Department began looking into the role that the Vatican Bank played in a counterfeit and stolen securities operation led by the mafia. New York gangsters were planning to sell fake corporate bonds and stock certificates to the Vatican. This would have been an almost $1 billion payment. An individual Vatican cardinal was going to use the faked securities as collateral in order to obtain financing. The fake bonds would have gone completely undetected unless the Vatican Bank lost money on its investments and couldn't pay back on loans, and even then, the Vatican could claim ignorance of an outside scam. The Vatican has also been accused of laundering money for the mafia and other Italian entities. Because its unique sovereignty, the Bank of the Vatican has the ability to withhold account information from authorities. This secrecy has provided a great cover throughout history. The thing about the Vatican is that you cannot truly investigate any funds that enter or leave the bank. In 2012, 4 priests came under investigation for operating bank accounts for the mafia. While the Vatican is a beautiful place, there is much to uncover about its deeper-rooted history. From exorcisms to mafia laundering, there is much more than meets the eye. But what do you make of these secrets that the Vatican holds? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.